Hey guys, I just wanted to show you another quick tip about Rozzer. I know I just recently created a video on this device, but I wanted to create another one because I discovered something pretty cool. And to be honest, I didn't really go too in depth into this thing in my last video. I just showed you how to randomize it. But today I'm going to show you how to utilize these individual parameters and show you what exactly most of this stuff does. So I was working on this kick, hi-hat, top loop thing and wanted to have some kind of a bass groove. So this is how it sounds. Just a kick and tops. You can see that there's no MIDI on the diva layer over here, but it's still playing a sequence that's coming from the Rozzer Advanced Step Sequencer here. I know it sounds really random, but I just want to show you the point about what we can do with this, and I think the sound will evolve during the course of this tutorial, so stay tuned. What exactly is going on here? So the sequencer is basically outputting MIDI and CC data. The CC data is coming from these parameters here, basically just a modulator. And the reason why I love this is because this creates accentuation to the bass. So if I were to, for example, just delete all of these mappings over here, so I'm gonna delete every parameter and play you the bass sound without any modulation, any movement, just the static pattern here. That could work as like your first layer. If you want to have a bit more movement and accentuation to the bass, that's where the modulation comes into play. Usually, I start with a very static sequence, just playing the root note. In this case, it's just triggering a C, basically the lowest note over here. If you wanted to, you could also adjust the pitch over here. This would be somewhat of a tech housey result, but we're going to keep it at the very bottom because we're going for some more progressive house vibe here, yeah? So what you could do is create a new audio track with Command T and take the input from track 18. So that would be over, oh no, excuse me, it's 17 diva. Yeah, record arm and then hit record. Well, preferably you also want to make it a bit louder so you don't have such a quiet recording. So let's do that again. That's enough. Yeah, just select maybe just the first little bar. I think this is a bar. Yeah, first bar is enough. So let's call this one static bass. Double click it, make sure it's looped, and then drag that loop to the very end. Oh, you can see that the loop length is not set correctly because of these little lines. They're not in exact alignment with our grid. So we can double click the sample again and make sure that we're actually playing one bar of the sample. There we go. Now let's mute this for now and let's look for some kind of an accentuation. So therefore we're going to use these parameters. So parameter 1, we can just draw in a random value here, or you could also randomize it here, shove the notes to the left, or you could nudge them to the right, up and down, whatever you want. You could also change the length of these so you play a bit more of a weirder pattern, like polymetric pattern. Even loop lengths like 8 and 16 will give you even results. Uneven loop lengths like 6, 7, 9, 11, everything between 4, 8, 16 will give you some more rhythmically interesting results. Make sure parameter 1 is selected over here, click map, and then you can map it to something like frequency. Yeah, so you're getting cutoff modulation. Let's hit play on the sound. Let's change it to 8. Actually, let's change it to 16 so we have more control. It already feels a bit more different. Just feels more accentuated, like there's some movement in the sound. And if you're wondering how do I get the frequency in here, you can hit configure and click your way through the synth. I have a plugmon skin currently installed for Diva, so don't be wondering why it looks slightly different. But you could click, for example, anything you want, like the decay, sustain, release, and whatever you click will be assigned to this panel over here, as long as you're in configure. So I already pre-mapped a few of my favorite parameters, which are usually frequency, resonance, decay, and release. And let's say I want to use parameter 2. So I click parameter 2, adjust my value over here, go into parameter 2, click map, and I can map it to resonance. That basically determines how squelchy or vowely the sound is. Yeah, it gives it like a yoi type effect. Now we're starting to step into sound design territory, yeah, where stuff gets weird. This is what I love about modulation. It's because it allows you to take very simple sounds that don't require a lot of effort to program. Like, you don't need to have the knowledge of how to come up with a fantastic melody. You can have something very static, very normal, simple, but achieve complexity through modulation. This is also the reason why I love creating videos on these particular Max for Live devices, because they're just so interesting in how they modulate stuff. Especially this one just gives you 5 different modulation slots. That's insane. You could alternatively take another device that's included in Ableton Live 12 suite. It's called Step Arp, and this is somewhat similar, also has a similar interface. This only has one mapping thingy here, or one modulator. It's cool, it works, you can try yourself out, but I personally prefer using the more vintage Rozzer sequencer. Now you could create an additional audio track underneath the Diva, yeah, with Command T. Then you could select track 17 Diva, leave it on post mixer, record arm, and just hit record. If you want, while recording, you can change the parameter, yeah. So go into parameter 1, maybe higher, lower values. And you got yourself some weird sound designy results. That's what it's about. I highly recommend resampling your results to audio, because this just gives you a bit more of a visual instead of just seeing a single MIDI note. This one we're going to call modulated. So we have a static bass and a modulated bass. Static bass is going to be responsible for, let's say, the low end part of the bass, the more driving, energetic bass. The modulated bass is going to be just the top end, the accentuation bass. Yeah, so we can then take out the low end and then select our favorite parts. So if we blend in both together, you could determine how much of the overtones you want by changing it to a steeper slope on the bass layer, yeah. If you want just the sub bass, you can just narrow it down to the sub bass here. And if you want more of the mid-range on the top end layer here, you can just blend it in over here. You can see I'm using the 4x slope, which is very, very steep. So I get decent frequency separation. Again, another advantage of having audio is that you have the clip material here already. You can take specific parts like just this one over here, highlight it, hit Command E to chop it out, and then you can delete the rest and place this, for example, here if you want to have a specific accentuation right there. Let's say you don't like that yo-ya at the very end, this one. So you could take that out. Using Option and drag, you can see this little plus folder icon appear. You see that? You can drag and drop it. And now using, I know there's a bit of shortcuts here, Option and Shift, you see this little Mickey Mouse hand appears. That's where you can drag the sample within the clip without having to, scroll through the clip this way. This is another cool way to find different parts of a sound that you like. That is so cool. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. You can then start adding some weird reverb or delay. I've been using this one recently, this Verbotron. It's been fun. You can use also the Ableton stock reverb delay. It's more than enough. Maybe some filter delay, give it some more rhythmic variety. Holy moly, dude. That's what it's about, son. Maybe pan it more towards the middle. You can also resample this. So you could create an audio track underneath the modulated layer. Let's select audio to come from this track, modulated, post mixer, record arm, and now let's just hit record. Let's mute this modulated layer for now, and now we have some material to work with. So you can double click this and select certain parts. Again, I would highly suggest that you select just even loop lengths here. Like if you right click, go into 8th note, or go here, 8th note, select 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 8th notes or 16th notes or whatever to get more even results. So if you hit loop here, or you could go polymetric and select just 3 of these 8th notes. Also amazing. I just want to show you how endless these results are. We often get limited by MIDI and just scrolling through presets. It can feel very static, and music making is about it's about having fun, and I want to show you that the DAW can make results for you. You can come up with an endless amount of material and just pick your favorite parts, use your ear, and you could at any time, of course, just select a different part of this loop here. And you could keep on repeating this process, and at some point you're going to go into a sound design rabbit hole, so you'll have to distinguish whether or not you want to make progress with your track or you want to go down the sound design route. Let's select the filter here, like filter M12, which is by Arturia. This allows you to create some extra groove to your sound. Just so cool. The sound itself, however, now is very repetitive since it's audio material. We don't have control over the frequency cutoff. So how would we use this in the arrangement? So first of all, you could add auto filter to it, and you can blend in the amount of high frequencies that you have, because the high frequencies carry a lot of the sound's energy, and by blending them in, you introduce more energy. Over the course of, let's say, 8 bars, you can introduce more of the top end here. Wait for it. You see? Simple. And on the master, I have a high pass, which takes away the bass. Cool. But in this particular section, I feel like it's a little static still, and that's where I use creative effects. My favorite one to use is Valhalla Frequency Echo, and I know I'm going a little deep right now, and I will keep this short. Frequency Echo, where is it? Actually, I have one on my send over here, so I'll just use it here. So if it's on a send, you'll have to make sure that it's set to 100% mix. Just tweak your settings here, like shift, delay, feedback, mess around, and I'll just send this into Valhalla Frequency Echo to see how it sounds. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at here. I know I went a little off topic. Essentially, what we're trying to do is create a static bass pattern in Rozzer and then create accentuated bass patterns. And the way we do that is with these individual parameters over here, 1 through 5, map them to our synth, to whatever we want, and then resample, resample, resample. And when you resample, you can make use of all the effects that you have, especially if you've just purchased a new effect or something. You can try that out. Yeah, this gives you the ability to test out all those plugins that you've bought. I'm speaking only because I've purchased a lot of plugins in the past 2 years, and this is a cool way to just make use of them. Practice your sound design skills. Before I end the video, I just wanted to quickly show you or give you a preview of the sounds. I've edited the project file a bit for my patrons who want to download it. I've added a few more bass variations, a slightly more staccato or shorter one. Added some sidechain compression to the sidechain source. In this case, it's a Kick C78 sample that's triggering these. Yeah, so there's a few different bass alterations that I've made. An ambient pad that I added, some extra percussions in the tops group. This is how it would sound. And if I wanted to, I could also highlight all the audio tracks, hit Shift and Tab, and then pitch them down together or pitch them up. I like going down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. Yeah. Amazing. Just want to announce that I am working on a new progressive house sound pack, and it's made some massive progress throughout the last month. You can see the amount of bass sounds that I have in here, hi-hats, percussion loops, I'm going to give you a more in-depth preview of what is to come soon, perhaps in some kind of a live stream, but the sounds are really, really, really freaking dope. Thanks so much for watching.